What's up, guys? This is Daniel Molinari, assistant coach at St. Mary's College. I'm super excited to share my story and my journey with Nick. We're going to be talking about my life a little bit, my journey into baseball, and now transitioning into coaching.
This place is dope, bro.
Dude, this is
Hold on, before we get into it, we're at St. Mary's College right now in Moraga. This is the first time I've been here, and all I can say is it's a beautiful campus, beautiful stadium, and there's a lot of big leaguers who have played here that would surprise you. As you can see, 69 Gales to the show. Shout out my boy Ken Waldachuk, Oakland A's pitcher, but let them know who you are.
What's up, guys? I'm Daniel Molinari. I'm assistant coach here at St. Mary's College. Been friends with Nick. Been training with him for a long time in our pro ball career. Now I'm full-time coach now, so it's shifted gears. But I'm super excited to be here, man. This is awesome. Really honored to have you.
Crazy
let me
story
share my
about
story.
my guy. This is my first. He got me into pro ball for one, but two, this is my first roommate.
Yeah.
He had been playing, but when I was out of college, COVID-19, it was a whole different deal. But Danny put me on in a COVID league out in Washington, Pennsylvania. Just a crazy time, and it's just, for people that are watching, it's just like you never know where this game will take you. Like,
Yeah.
I've known Danny since what?
We were in high school.
High school, yeah. He's a
remember-
little older than me, but
I mean, I remember going
Yeah.
I remember going just on the recruiting circuit when you're young and you're trying to get in front of colleges and stuff. I just remember going to like certain things or certain camps and just
Yeah.
stuff like that, and always seeing this dude with a O on his hat, and I was like, man, I keep seeing that guy, like, and he's always like raking. I'm like, who is this kid? And then so we just kind of always familiar with who you were. Never like formally, and then as we kind of got into high school and deeper into high school and then college, it's just the network gets smaller, yeah. And then I was like, okay, I remember you, yeah. So it was cool, man. So we've crossed paths from the jump. So
Juco Ball, pro ball, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
You just never know where this game will take you, for real.
it is a small world. So
All right. Let's get into it, though. Just give the audience, whoever's watching, just a little background of what was life like for you growing up. Was it always baseball for you? Like, break down, like kind of like a summer for you, or just how it was growing up.
Yeah. So I grew up in Redwood City, California.
Shout out.
Peninsula. But I mean, I was actually a soccer player. Soccer was in my roots. Being Brazilian and all that. I was playing soccer since I can remember, and was a soccer player all growing up. Played other sports too, but didn't start playing baseball until I was about 10 years old. So I started a little bit later than most kids. Most kids start 5, 6, they have a bat in their hand. So I got a little late start, but I fell in love with the game of baseball. Coming from a blue collar family, so it wasn't a ton of resources or a ton of or somebody to look up to that played, like an older brother that played. It was pretty much just starting from scratch, and my family and I would just put the work in, and that's all we knew, just repetition, and I just fell in love with the game of baseball, and I just always knew subconsciously that it was gonna take me places, and it was gonna be it was gonna lead me to where I am in
Better
life.
places.
Yeah, it was never. I don't know, man. Sometimes when you know, and I just always knew baseball was gonna be kind of that. It was be my guide throughout life.
You think soccer helped you, like playing sports like that? Do you think it helped you not just in baseball but just athleticism?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think playing soccer, it just gave me it opened my eyes, just meeting different kids, embracing, like, soccer is just it's a big culture.
Yeah.
You play with a lot of different kids. You play with Latino kids. You play with American kids. You play with all different cultures, all different backgrounds, and you just see how soccer is just so passionate, and a lot of people embrace that. When the World Cup, the Olympics. So I think it kind of gave me that foundation as on top of the athleticism and running and all that, and I think it just allowed me to carry on to baseball. And it kind of comes full circle
Yeah.
because like baseball's a little, you know, very traditional.
Extremely.
You know, especially in America, like it's very, you know, it's a lot of it's kind of restrictive. It's opening up now, but soccer kind of gave me that.
Soccer's the one sport I wish I was just Ronaldo with it.
Yeah,
clean, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, every once in a while I'll still kick the ball around a little bit if I have a free time, but it's like clockwork, man. It's like it never left me.
Well, you played you did what? Water polo.
Yeah.
You dabbled in jiu-jitsu. You kind of do it all, right?
Yeah, I mean, I going into high school, I went to Sarah High School in San Mateo, California. You know, when I got in there, I really wanted to be a kicker. You know, I don't know, everyone jokes around about kickers or whatever, but my cousins were kickers all throughout Sarah. And so for me, I was like, well, you know, I have a good leg from soccer, and, you know, it's one of those positions where I don't have to necessarily get worried about getting injured. And, you know, so I was super excited. I was, you know, kind of prepping for that. And it got to the point where I got to high school, and it was like, hey, like, you know, parents kind of pump the brakes on that. And like, hey, we don't want you getting hurt for baseball. But my dad was like, you are going to play a fall sport, and it's either you can do cross country or water polo. And I was like, well, I ain't running.
Yeah.
So I figured, you know, I'll try water polo. It sounds pretty cool. It's an aggressive sport. And so I got into water polo, and it actually was
probably
awesome.
Helps with baseball a lot.
Oh, big time.
My parents always wanted me to do it. I was like, I can't try water.
Yeah.
Not that long.
It was hard, man. I mean, I was in really good shape. It was great for throwing. It was really, really competitive. It was hard-nosed, like an aggressive sport, but
and just a new environment. You're in the water.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Crazy.
I can only imagine.
Man, my dad goes, "Hey, can you swim?" And I go, "Yeah, I can swim, Dad." And you know, obviously,
good enough.
Yeah, good enough. And then he goes, "All right, cool." So the first like week and a half, 2 weeks of water polo in high school is just all conditioning.
Yeah, and just
so I'm like, "All right, cool. We're gonna do a couple laps." Man, I'm getting there, and it's like, "Hey, we're gonna go." 16 100s on the 130.
Oh, bro.
So 16 100s, right? 100 is there and back back is 1. 130, that's a minute 30 seconds. So you have to do 16 of those. And for me, like after the first one, I was like, oh man, this is hard. And then my dad comes to watch me the second day, and he always laughs because on one of the reps, it was like 5 on the 5th 100. I'm like on the guard.
Oh,
and I'm like pulling myself and then swimming. Guys are laughing me. And it was a good wake-up call, but my dad goes, "Are you sure you can swim?" I go, and then like repetition, man. You just keep slowly getting better. All these guys were playing club water polo. I didn't have any experience, and but until they pulled the water polo balls out, everyone was kind of giving me slack about swimming. And then once the balls came out, dude, through one of them, it kind of was like, okay, like this kid can play a little bit. So yeah, I played water polo. You know, now I'm full-time coaching, but you know, I need to keep that competitive edge and find a new craft to get better at. So, you know, back in jiu-jitsu, so loving that. So, yeah, I always wanted to be multi-sport, man. You never want to be one-dimensional. So,
yeah, that's facts. All right, let's transition back into baseball a little bit. Kind of break down your playing career. You kind of got into it a little bit already.
Yeah.
But you played in a lot of different places. You played pro ball, different colleges. Talk a little bit about that experience and what's something you always remember about it.
Yeah, so you know, the journey, you know, everyone's got their own journey. You know, I'm proud of my journey and proud of where I came from and how I got to where I got to. But you know, starting baseball kind of later, you know, hard work was all I really knew, and that's all we kind of did was just repetition with my dad and other family. You know, got into Sarah High School, played there. Went to De Anza Junior College, played there for 2 years. One of my assistant coaches got the job at Limestone University. It was a Division II school in South Carolina. Plays one of the best conferences in Division II. So I followed him out there, had a great time, and then got the opportunity to get into pro ball. And yeah, man, like that, you know. And then from there, and then I got an opportunity to. You know, represent my country 3 different times for Brazil, a couple World Baseball Classics,
Brazilian national team right here. Right?
Yeah,
yes, sir.
And then won Pan America games, and you know, so just that whole journey, man. It was awesome. You know, I think like everybody faces adversity. You know, I think one of those ones for me, like I said earlier, I knew baseball was always going to be my ticket. And I always knew it was going to guide me to where I needed to be in life. And for me, like playing baseball was all I ever wanted to do. And I had a great support system, but I was not going to stop until I was fulfilled internally with what I did. And so it meant going out, I needed to figure out how to get better at certain things, and I put the time in and outsourced, and I started to see a lot of results throughout my career, and I just really wanted to see how good I can get. And you know what? And I think in that process, it led me to a lot of good accomplishments, a lot of good feats, and it was awesome. And I think the biggest thing I can take away from that is, especially now coaching, is it's a craft, right? Like, if you're a carpenter, if you're a hairstylist, if you're anything that involves having to get good, and you have to it's the lonely journey a little bit sometimes, but it's a craft and you always have to keep working at it. And sometimes that means you have to outsource a little bit, man. Like, some people give up a little bit too easily. Some people just think, this is the way it is. And for me, I just never thought of it like that, man. If there was a problem, like, I needed to solve it, that's who I was around. My family's nothing but problem solvers. My dad, tile setter. If there's a leak, like, you don't just fix. It has to get fixed. You have to figure out a way.
Solutions.
My mom's a hairstylist. If there's an issue with a haircut, he has to fix it. So for me, it's like, all right, if I'm going to get good at this and progress to where I want to, I got to get good at it, and I got to get creative and, network and figure out ways to help me get better. So.
That's one thing, kind of building off of that, but just talking about Danny as a player that I always admired personally, and how I think more players should adopt, is your mindset towards the game, but also just understanding the idea of being open to different things, not just one way. Like, I know, especially with your hitting journey, you went through all these different avenues to try and find it, because you just never know. This for anybody, not just hitting, pitching, fielding. There's not truly one way to do it, but you have to find out what makes you do it well, what makes this body swing it right, swing it in the proper mechanics. And just what I'm trying to say is that he always had an open mindset to it, and not saying like he's going all in on one thing, blah, 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 blah. But that mindset alone took you a lot of places, and maybe you didn't make it to the big leagues, but as a player, but you maximized, for the most part, your ability, in my opinion. Like, not saying you couldn't have gone farther, but you checked every box.
For sure, yeah. And I think, I always knew I could do it. I showed a lot of spurts of it, of good, like, I've wowed myself. Like, how did I hit that ball? Like, I did something different, and then I tried to duplicate it. I tried to repeat it, and I couldn't. But for me, like, I was never afraid to, like, fail. You know what I mean? Like, I was never afraid to fail. I took it, and I was like, hey, like, this is gonna help me. Yeah, it is what it is. But like, it never shook me to the sense of like,
it's over.
I'm over now. So I just, from the hitting standpoint, like, it made me have to rethink some things. It made me have to be like, all right, well, I think when Donaldson came out with that, Josh Donaldson it changed the whole game. And so I realized, like, my dad used to say certain things to me, like, you got to rotate. You got to rotate. You got to get your hands back more. And I just never, and I would, and at that time when you don't have a lot of resources, you're hey, like, hey, I met this guy. I did a job for this guy. He knows this guy who coaches baseball. Go hit with him. And so they're teaching me, certain things. But my dad would always kind of like, hey, like, you need to get your hands back more. You need to like rotate more and stuff. And those type of cues, they stuck with me. And I would, like I said, I would have wow moments. But it wasn't until I got into pro ball and you start realizing, okay, like, it's on you to really
figure it out, bro, so if you want to make it.
So for me, content started coming out, videos of different hitters start talking about their swing journeys, and I was like, man, like, I need to branch out a little bit. I need to kind of get creative, because I know I have something there. I just need to figure out how to do it. And you know what, man, like, there's great teachers out there, and I was fortunate to kind of start and meet different people, and I found something for me that worked for me, and I think that made a lot of sense. It was the right verbiage, it was the right technique. Those, like, in that particular style, like, I really liked, because it gave me what I didn't have, and what I knew I wowed myself with. Those were the techniques that I ended up having, just couldn't repeat it. And so I was able to find a couple people that were able to teach it to me, and I was able to figure it out.
I like a lot of the stuff that you would do with your training as well. Like, you wouldn't just go lift the house. It was kind of, you were always in pursuit of finding something that works for you. So like, you did the jiu-jitsu, you worked at
functional patterns.
You're working on biomechanical stuff that you might not see it, but it's fixing. You worked out at Sparta too, didn't you?
I did,
A
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, my buddy Chase Spivey was training there.
Sir.
Him and I
but
met.
You're working on biomechanics and stuff that you might not necessarily think it's helping your hitting or your running or your fielding or whatever, but this is what kids need to know is it's what you see at the major league level is a culmination of everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's not just one-dimensional player. Hardly. If you are, you have to be insanely talented.
For sure, yeah. And I think the cool thing was that I think when I was fortunate to work out at Sparta a couple times with my buddy Chase, they showed me a lot of innovative things that weren't necessarily quote unquote mainstream. Like, I mean, rolling out. Like when I started rolling out, people were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just I'm rolling out my lactic acid." Like, you know what I mean? Just kind of, it makes me feel good. It keeps me in longevity. And then you start to see over the years, people are like rolling out now. And so, and then I think as I've evolved, you start meeting different people that are on the same journey, same journey of playing. You start to see how creative they're getting. I mean, you know, we've been fortunate to have a couple big leaguers, you know, work out here during the off season, and you know, things like that. And you just kind of start talking to them, and they're so open-minded and trying to maximize their performance. And so for me, it was just like, you know, I just want to be able to maximize the body that I have and be able to leave no stone unturned. And if that meant like putting myself out there to a new concept that I'd never heard about before, or it seemed a little bit odd to the naked eye, and I saw results from it, like, I was gonna do it, man. It worked. So, you know, with functional patterns, I saw a lot of benefits to it. I saw a lot of my body changing. I started being able to use my body better as far as leverage. Jiu-jitsu's been, you know, it's taught me that too, and now being full-time into it, like, it's just kind of gives you a different perspective, man. Like, if you go in there and lift the house, like, it's great, but, you know, there's more to it.
Diminishing returns too, like, not saying you shouldn't lift the house. I'm not saying that.
Oh, you definitely need to load it up
for sure.
Yeah.
But just know there's not one way, especially the longer you play. There's definitely not just one way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find your way of doing it. Figure out what works for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, let's transition a little bit. Let's talk about how it has been for you transitioning from playing to coaching, because this man was just playing a year ago, so now he's coaching at the D1 level. And like I said earlier, this place is beautiful. It's the first time I've been on this campus. I highly recommend.
Yeah. No, it's been an interesting journey, man. I definitely count my blessings to be here. It's you know, letting go of the game was not easy. You know, you kind of have, and every athlete will go through it at one point. You know, obviously when you're doing it, you never think it's going to be you.
Yeah.
And then you kind of hit that pit where you're like, all right, why is my stomach turning? Like, why am I having these thoughts waking up, and, you know, whatever. So it just came to that point where it was time to let it go, time to, you know, turn the leaf, and came home. I was staying with my buddy out in Michigan, because that's where I was at. I was close to that area, and I drove out there, stayed with him for about 2 weeks, and we just, you know, he's been one of my best friends. I played together in junior college and stayed with him, and I was just working with him. He just bought a new piece of property, and I was just helping him out. We were digging ditches, we were digging, changing the septic tank, like,
yes, sir.
Sun up to sun down, man, just labor work, and it just allowed me to soul search a little bit and
trying to figure things out.
Yeah, and then, you know, part of that was like letting it go. But, you know, I came home, back to Cali, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Felt a little lost, and one of my mentors, coach that's very dear to me, Tony Luca at Kenyatta College, he gave me a place to train and gave me a place to kind of get my feet wet a little bit in coaching, where he had me designated to help the catchers while I was training. So it was kind of a best of both worlds. I got to train with them, but also, like, when it came down to, like, the defensive work, like, I worked with the catchers, so it kind of, you know, and saw a lot of those two catchers that I worked with, like, had a lot of great results and got scholarships and performed really well. And so when I came back, he had talked to me about coaching. I wasn't really sure, and then he called me and said, "Hey, St. Mary's is looking for an assistant coach." And he put me in contact with Danny Costanza and talked to him, and we had a great conversation and great interview, and put me on with Coach V, Eric Valenzuela, and you know, just from there it was just you know,
match made in heaven, huh?
It kind of came full, you know, it was pretty cool, man. I think with coaching, you know, there's a lot of different avenues, and I think for me it matched up. You know, for me, like, I'm very big on
timing too. Like
timing. Yeah, I mean it's been a great. I mean, yeah, it's been a great blessing to be here, man. I can't thank them enough. It's working with V, because DC.
Well, you and Tom came at the same or around
the
same time.
Yeah, me and Tommy. Yeah,
one of his boys
yeah,
growing up,
one of my best friends, man. One of my best friends. We trained together, man. We were together.
Been in it.
Yeah, been in it from the start, and I told him we were actually doing live at bats. He was still pitching, and I was like, dude, I'll give you some looks, and it's kind of funny, dude. I started figuring some more stuff out.
I'm gonna get it.
I'm like, am I really done? But and it just, at that time, the timing was like, hey, we're gonna hire you, and just I couldn't pass it up. And but I told him, I was like, dude, I got hired, and he was actually looking to get his master's, and it just kind of worked out. We had a mutual friend who now we're really tight now, Zach Kirtley. He was a St. Mary's grad here. He got drafted by the Cardinals 5th round, and
BZG.
He kind of was that like funnel for myself and also Tommy, because he had that connection.
Well, he played here too, didn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That 2016 regional, WCC championship in regionals, that's him, man. So, but yeah, no, he kind of put Tommy on a little bit, and it just kind of came full circle. So now Tommy hit me up like a week later after I got hired. He's like, dude, I'm coming too. So I was like, dude, couldn't have worked out. You couldn't have told us. If we would have said that was gonna happen 3 years ago, we would have been laughing. Yeah. So it's been great, man. The transition has been awesome. I'm really blessed and really grateful to be surrounded by good coaches. We have a great staff. VDC, Coach May, Jack Meggs, Kirtley, and
now you guys got a good squad.
Yeah, bro. Me and Tommy. So it's
what what's your main focus with the guys? What's your main role here?
I'm the catching coach.
Okay.
Yeah, catching coach, first base coach. I assist Jack with the hitters.
Nice.
And Danny with the hitters too. So, but catching is the main thing.
Focus.
Yeah. So it's been pretty cool. Like when V talked to me, it was, he had a great catcher down at Long Beach State, Connor Burns, and when we were going through the interview process, he made it very clear, like, he's like, I value catching a lot, and I know how valuable it is.
Very
and a lot of programs,
important.
A lot of programs don't necessarily have a designated catching coach, and he's like, that's one thing I want to make sure that I have when I come up here. So it just kind of was the right fit, and so for me, catching is number one. So it's pretty cool, man, and it's kind of it's been cool being able to be a catcher my whole life. And coming up, man, there wasn't a lot of resources for catchers, and it wasn't until later in my career where I started to meet some people, Brett Thomas over at Catching Academy, a couple different people, odds and ends, throughout my pro ball career. But then that's when I started meeting people that like knew their stuff about catching, and I was like, oh man, there's not a lot of people around the area, even across the country, that know their stuff about catching. So to be able to have that opportunity
to take it's cool. It's growing too.
Yeah, to be able to have that opportunity to impact younger catchers and kind of share my journey and share some of the things, like we talk about training, outsourcing and stuff, like all the things that I've learned and had to kind of self-teach myself. I've been able to get really creative as far as creating systems and environments. So it's been pretty cool, man, to kind of have that platform and have the ability to teach those guys. It's been cool.
I will say, the longer I've played, the more I've always known this. They've always preached this, like catchers, fastest way to the big league, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But take that out of the picture. Just looking at it from a baseball aspect, the longer I've played and the more teams I've been on, it is so clear in how much of a difference it is when the catchers are held to a higher standard and the catchers for your team are elite compared to mediocre catchers. Because when you have a great catcher, a great leader, he's controlling the run game, he's good with the bullpen, good with all the pitchers, you can't replace it. That alone, especially in pro ball, but in college as well, for sure. It's a game changer, bro. So what you're doing, I applaud, bro.
No, man, I appreciate it. It's funny you say,
it's crazy though. The longer I played, the more and more you'll see it. Because I've played with some bad ones, but I've also played with some great ones. Yeah. And the difference is in play, unbelievable. Yeah. And just the impact on the game that you don't even realize because the elite ones, you won't realize how much they're saving you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been great, man. I mean, we have a good staff. We had a really good staff last year.
Yeah.
And it was all new. It was new for me. It was new for them. A lot of them were raw. A lot of them didn't have a lot of game time experience behind the dish at a high level, at the Division I level. So it's been cool, man, to be able to start my journey along with their first year. of having like a catching coach, because we kind of do it together. And I say this all the time to him. I was like, you guys are held to the highest standard, but given the least amount of attention. So like now being able to be that light to them, or that be those eyes.
What I was trying to say.
Like we're working we're working every day, man. We got a good little squad going. We have a good squad coming in this year. But I joke around, man. We have a little tribe, man. We roll tight, man.
Yeah.
So, but having a good catcher, and that's not even too like
game changer.
A lot of times staffs will really just prioritize one catcher, and I think that you gotta have it's a group effort, man. Because let's say one guy doesn't necessarily earn the everyday role, and maybe he's a backup, or even he's maybe earns himself the third role. Yeah. Like he still needs to feel that, and he still needs to be trained and ready. You got to make him feel like he is just as valuable as a starter. And we saw that in action this year. We had our everyday guy Bear Harrison catching. We had Nathan Chong, Hayden Driggs, and throughout the whole year they all played a pivotal role in like on our success this past year. And so it just for me, man, like I love this craft so much but I also know what it's like to be the everyday guy, and I also know what it's like to be the backup. I know both sides to it, man. So when you're managing a staff, when you're managing a group of guys, like it's not so much just repping the skills. Like you gotta create environments for them. You gotta treat them, and you gotta build them up to make them feel like, hey, man, like I got you. Like it doesn't matter if you're the everyday or not. Like I got you. Like you're my guy. We're gonna work the same. We're gonna get the same amount of reps. Like we're in this together. So that way, when your time's called, you're not feeling like, oh, coach, now you're putting me in. It's like, no. Like, okay, I know that, my coaches believe in me, and like I haven't missed a step. So
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, getting close to wrapping it up, but what's one take that you stand, this doesn't have to be baseball, but it can be on baseball, what's one take that you stand on, bro? Like it's going to be hard to get you to switch. Like this could be baseball, this could be in life, this could be anything. What's one take that if I tried to change your mind, there's no way you're getting switched?
Oh man, I would say relationships, man.
Yeah.
There's kind of two things, like relationships and just being real.
Yeah.
Like relationships, you can't tell me like relationships don't matter. Whether it's in life,
business, everything,
friends,
like...
girlfriend, like business, baseball, like relationships matter, man. And if you're not able to create good relationships with guys, or just make people feel valued and see the value in other people, and see how you can, how it can be worked around and worked well, that's like half the battle, man. Like relationships matter. And I think being real, a lot of times now you see just everybody's trying to get something out of somebody. And I think people lose that authenticity.
Yeah. So
I think for me, man, just like if you were to try to change my mind on
relationships
not mattering, or and just being real, man. Like I just, we pride ourselves here at St. Mary's, just being authentic. Like there's no like wishy-washy, eyewash. We're just, we're really prideful on being real, man. Like just treating guys authentic, hard work, just real work, man.
I don't know what switched that, or maybe it's just been like that our whole lives. We're just too young to even truly see it, but there's just a lot of fakeness, a lot of maybe it's social media, maybe I mean, this will be on YouTube, Instagram, everything, but I don't know. It's just people and how they treat people, the relationships and everything that you're talking about. It's just, I feel like there's just a lot of fake going on, and there's a lot of people have lost that realness, that authentic vibe.
For sure, man. I think I was definitely raised on being real. From the blue collar scene, like relationships are a big part of that. But just, and you don't know what you don't know. But as you go through this journey, you start to meet people, and you can kind of tell like if someone's just trying to sell you on something, or trying to get something out of you. But then we talk about like baseball being so big on small circle.
Yeah.
The circle stays smaller, man, with like your core, with the people that you really gel with and bond with. Because I met tons of people, man, that in my career, and they're all good guys.
They're like not your best friend.
They're not my best friends.
Cool if you see them, but
but there's also people that I trust, and baseball is so big on trust, man. Like you got to have people that they're gonna be real with you. They're gonna tell you how it is. And I think too, like we're getting kind of back to that a little bit. Like people want to be slowly but surely. Like people want to be told, baseball players too, young athletes, they want to be told,
bro.
Parents too, parents and kids, like they want to be told like what is and what's not. And I think I get it, man. People are trying to make a buck, but are you willing to sacrifice your authenticity to make a buck, or are you willing to?
In the long run, that's gonna kill you, though. Like,
it's just all about, man.
No one wants to be around a fake person.
No, and I think, you know, there's that instant gratification thing, but I've been lucky to be around good people, and you know, I start to find the value. You know, I found the value in delayed gratification. You know, like if you're authentic, you're real. It may be a little slower. You may not get that quick
gratification
thing, but you know what? Like over time,
plays.
You know, 100%, man.
Yeah.
So,
all right. What would you tell if we could go back in time when that kid that you're talking about, playing soccer, playing baseball, doing all the stuff, doing everything, not knowing a thing in the world, just having fun with it? What would you tell that young kid if you could talk to him?
Ooh, man. Don't let anybody put out your fire, man.
Yeah.
We're all blessed.
Don't let anyone steal your joy. Same type of deal.
It's like the same thing, man. We all have our own uniqueness. We all have our own shine. Like we all have our own talents and things that we offer to the world. And you know, a lot of people are quick to kind of put that out, man. I've seen a lot of kids. This is why I love coaching so much, and why, you know, relationships matter to me, and getting to know your player and stuff, because they all have different gifts, and you know, as a coach, man, like you want to try to empower them so that way when they come on the field, like they're, man, coach believes in me.
Crazy.
Like he's hard on me, but like he knows that, you know, I know that he loves me and he wants the best for me. So I think for me, like, just don't let anybody put out that fire, man, because you see a lot of kids throughout the years, they get jaded off baseball, they get jaded off their dreams, or they get jaded off their purpose because like one coach or a couple coaches, you know, just like told them, hey, don't act like that. That's not how you act. And, you know, it doesn't even have to be on the baseball field, but just in general, man, don't let anybody put out your shine. So
basically, don't let anyone put you in a box. And this guy is the perfect person to tell you, because he's seen both sides.
Yeah.
He's seen being the star, but he's also seen the side where it's almost like forgotten. Like
a little bit,
they're not wanting to see you succeed. You're kind of just
So for sure, I definitely dealt with both. It's kind of cool, man. Like with baseball being, you know, I talk about soccer, like being so passionate, man. Like it's very just like, you just embrace the whole thing. It's very loud, and I think, you know, growing up, the baseball culture in the States, especially certain programs, it's very like militant, which is good. In a lot of ways, you learn discipline and how to be and how to have some feel on the field and stuff. But like I said, man, like there's a lot of kids that they have their fire and they want to play with that. And so like it didn't hit me till I played with Brazil, where you're playing in a totally different country. You're playing against other countries, and you're starting to see like the fans, the passion, man. And for me, that fires me up. There's got to be a good balance of both, man. But man, it was so cool to just be able to be on the field. You know, you're playing in front of 10,000 fans in the World Baseball Classic, and you got 10,000 screaming Panamanians, screaming at you, man, and it's a sea of red. But you just see how they love their game, they love baseball, they love their team, and the players are just having fun. Like that to me is just what it's all about, man. I think if can be a better balance between the both of it, where I think it's gonna make for a better game, dude.
I think that's a good one, because the farther kids play, from high school, it keeps going, college, pro ball, to even coaching, it's so easy for people to take away that joy that you had from it. Why are you even doing this? Because of that love you started when you started playing. So
absolutely.
That's a big one, bro.
Yeah, man. You gotta show a little fire, man. And again, it keeps it interesting, man. You see a little kid with a little attitude, you're like, you're like, all right,
keep it up.
Yeah, keep it up, dude. You know, and as a coach, you kind of try to guide them, you shepherd them through, but dude, don't lose that, man.
That's a separator at the high school, college, pro.
Absolutely.
It is a separator if you can hone it in and control it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, last part of the show, we got 5 quick questions from my guy.
All right.
He has no idea about any of this, so just off the top of your head.
Okay.
What's your favorite spot in the Bay to eat?
Favorite spot in the Bay to eat?
Anywhere.
Ooh, man.
Someone who's never been here. Someone from freaking Mississippi. Just from anywhere. Just
okay.
First time here, and they hit up Daniel Molinari. Where are we going?
All over the Bay Area?
All over. You can go anywhere.
Oh man. Shoot, that's a good question, man. I'm gonna have to say. Oh man, dude.
Like your personal.
I would. Oh man, that is a good one.
Could be anything.
I would say. Tres Amigos in San Mateo. That was a restaurant I used to go to as a little kid. It's in the Marina Market.
Yeah.
And on Hillsdale. That's where I used to go as a little kid. Man, it was the best Mexican food I've ever had, and that taste never leaves. So I would always take somebody there.
You always remember it.
Yeah.
All right. Name your top 5 baseball players of all time. That could be your personal favorite. It's more like your personal favorite.
I would say my personal favorite, top 5.
Top 5.
Okay, number 1 would have to be Yan Gomes. That was like my idol growing up. He was, first Brazilian catcher to make it to the big leagues. Yeah. He's always a guy that I used to watch and try to emulate growing up. So Yan Gomes would be my first one. I would say number 2 would probably be Dustin Pedroia.
Dope.
Just being, he's just you can't not hate him, man. Yeah. He's that guy with the attitude and that passion, and
he's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, Manny Ramirez.
Baller.
Yeah, best swing in the game, dude. Just best right-handed swing I've ever seen. Always a guy that when I was little try to mimic his swing.
Manny with the Manny pants.
Yeah,
everybody got
the bat waggle and everything. So Manny Ramirez. I would say number 4 would probably be Buster Posey, another catcher.
I like this list.
Yeah, Buster Posey, can't not. And then I think
one more.
The last one, I would have to say Jorge Posada. Jorge Posada, man. I know it's a lot.
You got the catcher.
Yeah,
I like it.
Jorge Posada,
it's
man.
A rare mix.
I was a Red Sox fan growing up, but you can't, when you see a good player and the way he carried himself, and he's such a legend. So yeah, Posada would be the last one.
If you had one memory from your playing career that it sticks out to you, what's your favorite memory from that could be from Little League and up?
2022 World Baseball Classic, man.
Brazil.
Yeah, that was incredible, man. It was something that I dreamed of as a little kid. There's some more personal ties to it, but I won't share those. But I knew as a little kid, like that, it was something that my dad and I talked about. Wouldn't it be cool one day that you'd have the opportunity to play for Brazil, and it would create more doors and tie those personal ties back, and then being able to have that, happen, in 2019 and 2020. But I think 2022, man, that World Baseball Classic was so special. We were one game away from qualifying. We would have gone to Tokyo or Miami. But just the squad that we had, the coaching staff that we had, and just the environment, man. It's just one of those ones where, you kind of, it's like one of those moments where you're just like, I'm going to let it go. That was that moment where I let it go a little bit, where I was just like, dude, I'm just going to have the most fun I could possibly have. I'm with my teammates, man. We got our flag, we got our jersey, man, and we're just going to go have a ball, man. We're going to play, be ourselves and play. And that was just the most fun and the most captivating experience I've ever had was that. And you know what, after it was over, even though we lost, and I walked around the whole stadium, and I was just kind of made peace with it, and I was okay with letting it go, letting the game go after that. It was
sure. You were good.
I was good, man.
Yeah.
That was the best experience I've ever had, and it was such an honor. I think that if kids can tap into maybe other nationalities that they have, I know you with Germany. Yeah. I think if kids can do their homework and find the network and resources to try to help get linked up with that, I think it is one hell of an experience, and an experience that should try to go after.
Ooh. I'm going to add on to this just because you brought it up. I just want people to know, this story's crazy. But to talk a little bit about, we'll finish these last 2 questions.
Yeah.
How did you get on to Team Brazil in the first place?
Yeah,
this is a crazy story.
Yeah, so well, first off, I had my citizenship and my dual nationality. I got that set up through me when I was a little baby, and I had networked with a player that was playing at Ohio, or is it Ohio U or University of Ohio? Not Ohio State, but it was the Bobcats, the green one.
Ohio University.
Ohio University, and I got to talking with him. I kind of waited up until I got into pro ball to have a little more of a resume and a little more leverage to present. And we got in contact, and I sent him some stuff, and he forwarded me my information to the manager, and that's how it got started. But with the World Baseball Classic, it was one of those ones where I was on the. This is a crazy story. Dude.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was like.
I haven't talked about this in a long time, but it was 2019. I had just played for them, and the World Baseball Classic was getting ready to go, and I had been on the and I was on the pre-roster.
Yeah.
But I looked on the roster, and there was really no one else from the States.
Yeah.
There was big names like Bo Bichette.
Yeah.
Big names like Dylan Lee, relief pitcher for the Braves, tearing it up. He's actually from Fresno area in California. But other than that, and my boy Liam Sabino.
Yeah.
But other than that, there was really no like Brazilian American players. And so I was like, shoot, man, like I know the team's training down in Brazil, like, man, like I don't know how much that's gonna necessarily help or whatever. And I'm competitive, man. Like I want to win. If I want something, I'm gonna go get it. And I had met Harold Reynolds down when I was watching Phil Caulfield, assistant coach at USF when he was playing at the Nationals. We had went down there, and I had met Harold Reynolds just in passing. So they were doing 30 for 30, or is it no, not 30 for 30. It's MLB Network. 30 clubs in 30 days. Yeah. So I met him, and he's a Cañada guy, and I'm from Redwood City.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm from Redwood City, and so I met him. We talked, and I told him I'm from Redwood City, and we had connected. We got each other's phone numbers, and he's like, just text me if you need anything. And so, at that point, I knew Barry Larkin was our manager. Manager for 2020. And so I was like, hey man, like if there's any way, like I texted him, I was like, hey man, if there's any way you could send just kind of like what I've been doing, like I played this year, did really well, just if you could send them just to have it, plant the seed. Like I said, I'm not asking for anything, and he said he did. And but when you're leaving your stuff, your fate up to other people, it's kind of gets a little dicey.
Trust.
Yeah. So man, this is crazy. So we had networked a little bit that way, and then my buddy Chase Spivey was a hitting coordinator with the Cubs.
Yes, sir.
And he was gonna be down in Arizona, and I knew Barry Larkin was gonna be as an assistant. In it with the Reds. And so it kind of just hit me. I was like, hey man, like when are you leaving for spring training? And it was the Classic was gonna be right around spring training. And he goes, oh, I'm leaving like in 2 days. I'm like, cool, I'm coming with you. And he goes, what? I go, yeah, I'm coming with you. And he goes, why? I go, I just want to come straight out spring training. I want to take a little vacation. Yeah. And he's like, well, do you have a place to stay? I'm like, yeah, like I got a place. My uncle's got a place down there, and I was lied the whole time. I had no place to stay, and we drove down there together, 4 a.m. in the car, drove down there, and I had no place to stay. He was staying in a hotel, and I was like, hey, dude, like I fell through with my uncle. He's like, all right, dude, you can stay with me, whatever. So we stayed, or I stayed with him, and the only thing I wanted to do was just meet him, so he'd put face to name.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. Not
meet Barry Larkin.
Meet Barry Larkin. That's all I wanted to do. Just to say, hey, what's up, man? I'm here. I live in California. Like I played with you guys before. Just hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. I'm ready. Like I'm excited. I'm ready. Like whatever happens, happens. So I go down there. We get there in Arizona. We settle in. The next morning, I had called. No, I didn't call. I went there. And I saw him, but fans galore, spring training, saw him, he walked out, walked away. I was like, shoot, like, all right, cool, whatever. At least I know he's there. Next day, it rained out. When it rained out, that was the day that they made the final roster.
Yeah.
And my name didn't get called.
Yeah.
And I was like pretty shook up, man. Like, it's just a dream, when you're a little kid, man, that's what you live, you live for moments like that. And it didn't happen. And I was pretty, I was like, hey man, it is what it is, like, whatever. But I was a little distraught. But I called my dad. I was like, hey man, I'm coming home. And he goes, well, did you get what you went down there for? And I was like, well, yeah, I saw him. But he's like, well, did you talk to him? I go, no. He goes, why you gotta come home?
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, what are you gonna do when you get here? Just gonna get ready to report where you signed? And I go, well, yeah. He goes, dude, stay down there.
Yeah.
Just stay down there. Have fun.
Yeah.
Like, quit thinking. Like, quit. You're so tired right now, and I get it sucks, but like, have fun. You're in spring training. Like, go, just walk, be a fan.
Facts.
I was all right. So I Ubered back to the Reds complex, and I was just there. I didn't have any expectations, and I went down there, made friends with the security guard, And he had known me from like the past day. And he goes, "You're back, huh?" And I saw Drew Mount, one of my old teammates from Deanza, and I saw him. We saw each other again. It was cool. And then I look over on the other field, and Barry Larkin's like throwing BP, and I see him come out, and he just like starts walking to the backfields. I'm like, well, all right, whatever. So I leave the complex. I didn't really know where I was gonna go, and I just kept walking, and kept walking, and I found like another loophole. I just walked the trail, and it was led to the backfields, and it was him hitting ground balls to some of the guys, and it was literally just like it is right now, like this net right here, that close to the field.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap, like I'm like right here, he's right there, and so I felt like a little kid in Little League, and there's no one at the field, and hey Fernandez, field 2, like all those guys, calling everybody out, and just him like dragging his fungo.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap, like if this is gonna be the moment, like this is it. Like, and I was like, man, like I hate doing this stuff, but I was like, hey Barry, like I like said my name, and I said, hey man, like I might be playing for you in the World Baseball Classic, and I had like lied. And
he doesn't know.
He doesn't know, and so he's like, I said, Harold Reynolds sent you my stuff. And he goes, what was your name again? And I go, and at first I said, I might be playing for you in the World Baseball Classic. And he kind of looked at me and was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then and I told him, I was like, yo, like Harold Reynolds sent me your stuff, or sent you my stuff. Yeah. And he like turned around and he said something in Portuguese, and I responded like, yeah, I speak Portuguese too.
Got him.
And so he's like, yeah, I remember, that name sounds familiar. So he dropped his stuff and he came around, met me right at the barrier. And we just started talking shop, man. He's like, hey, man, like, how are you? Like, what are you doing here? And I said, dude, I just came to introduce myself. I drove 12 hours.
Impressive.
12 hours to say what's up. I'm just excited. I think they make the rosters today. Like, I'm not sure what's going to happen. But I'm just letting you know, man, like, if I get picked, like, I'm excited to play for you. If not, like, I'm just letting you know, like, I'm ready. And I've been, I'm getting ready for my season, but I'm ready in case, an injury or something happens. And he's like, yeah, man, like, I don't really have any control over it. And I said, no, like, again, I'm not asking for nothing, but I just wanted to put face to name, man. He's like, well, what position? I'm a catcher. He's like, you've played with us before? I said, yeah. So I, knew all the other coaches and stuff. And he's like, yeah, man, like, I'm pretty out of the loop on that. Like, they kind of handle that, and I just kind of get the players when I get there. He's like, but, I'm excited too. Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, cool, man, thanks. Like, nice to meet you. Took a mega bus home. Literally, I got home. This is the crazy part. I got home 2 days later. I stayed with my cousin in LA. I got back 2 days later. I was going to train. I was getting ready to train. I was going down to functional patterns. And my phone, I get a phone call from the director, team director. He goes, hey, Daniel, like, where are you? And I go, I'm in California. He goes, well, do you have a first baseman's mitt? I never played first base in my life, Nick. Yeah. But I was like, yeah.
Run it.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I can play first base. He goes, yeah, we need you. Like, we're gonna buy your flight. You're on. Like, we need you.
Let's go.
Something fell through with the guy's visa or whatever. And
let's go.
Shoot, man. I went down to one of my lessons. I called his dad. I was like, hey, man, can I borrow Dylan's first baseman?
Yes, sir.
But I got there, and this is the craziest part, and this is I know it's a little bit of a drawn out story, but this is like the coolest thing, right? And this is kind of goes to like all the youngsters out there that are a little bit hesitant and stuff. This is why for me, like, I didn't care. Like, if I wanted something, I was gonna go get it, or at least put myself in the right position to see maybe, see what's good with it. But I got there. It was cool to see everybody that I played with, all happy and everything. We get there for team dinner, and I'm getting my food right. They have already been practicing a little bit, so I just got there. Like, I'm still in shape, but I'm just getting acclimated with the team. And I walk to sit at the table, and I look up, and Barry's sitting there at the coach's table, and he like looks at me, and he gives me like a little nod, and I put my food down, and I said, "What's up?" And he goes and gave me a big hug. Met LaTroy Hawkins, met Steve Finley, who are going to be the our coaches for the next one, I was all smiles, man. I was so happy to be there and have the opportunity. And he goes to me, and he's like introducing me to the coaches, and he goes, "Hey, man, like, you know about this kid?" And they're like, "Yeah, like Molinari, yeah, whatever." And he goes, "Man, this kid drove 12 hours just to let me know that he was ready for an opportunity." He goes, "Dude, you were the first one on the list, like, no matter what, but he's like, the fact that you did that,
separator.
It's separator." And he's like, that spoke volumes, man. And so like when it got down to like getting ready to go, like I was coming for heads, man. And I wanted to let them know, like, hey, dude, y'all should have picked me first. But like it just to be there, man, like and it was scary. It took a lot of courage and a lot of gumption. But like just that moment was just. You can't write it up, man. And so
that's a movie, bro. Like you can't.
Yeah, man.
It's a story that you'll have the rest of your life, and it's every time when you first told me it, I was just like,
yeah,
salute, bro.
Yeah. And so and it just kind of came full circle the next time, man. Like it got banged because of COVID.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, man, like all of us were just so heartbroken because we were
out there too.
We were projected to win the whole thing, win our bracket and everything. And so, but to have it come full circle. And then be the guy behind the dish, be the starter, help lead our team, like, and just those relationships that I built, and performance too, man. Like, don't get it twisted. Like I did my thing.
Yeah.
So like to have that come full circle and be that guy and to be able to live out that dream ever since I was a little kid, like that's all. That was awesome, man. So yeah. You just never know what this game's gonna bring you, man. When you put yourself out there.
We got 2 more.
Yeah.
And then we're done. Who's your top 3 music artists, or it could be genres too, that you would listen to before a game or that you like? Could be for the team or you personally.
I would say for myself, man, like I really liked listening to like Bad Bunny, like some good Brazilian artists. I loved listening to that type of music because it got me just
upbeat.
Yeah, it got me, just in flow. I would say, yeah, like Bad Bunny, for example, Big X the Plug. It's always a good one, man. That would get you locked in for sure. And then I always love listening to some good rock. I'm a big Creed fan.
Yeah.
So I love listening to Creed too. Just it's a good
blend right
there.
Yeah,
good blend right there. So, but like when we're getting ready to play, man, I love. Actually, really got into like good house music.
Okay.
I think it's good. Like all the guys love it. Our coach Jack Meggs, he has a really good playlist, so I've been kind of stealing some songs out of there. But we play that during BP, man. It's good. It gets the guys locked in.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
All right, last question, then we're done. Why should someone pick St. Mary's, other than the nice facilities and everything? But why? What separates you guys? Why should someone come here?
I mean, man, St. Mary's is. We talk about this a lot with recruits, man. St. Mary's is that good blend between power degree and big time baseball.
Yeah.
Our schedule is awesome. Like we played number 4 Florida, beat them last year.
Really? I didn't.
Yeah, we played number 4 Florida last year, beat them. We're going to Vanderbilt this year. We're going to Creighton this year. We have a lot of big non-conference matchups, and our conference itself is one of the better ones on the West Coast.
For sure.
But St. Mary's, man, being tucked away in Moraga, it is such a beautiful area. I mean, I like coming to work every day. It's gorgeous. I mean, obviously the camera's on us, but doing like a campus tour, it is beautiful. But the power degree, St. Mary's College is one of the most renowned colleges around in the nation.
For sure.
It holds a power degree. There's a lot. Our alumni base is unbelievable. We have a lot of guys that unfortunately didn't get drafted, but they were immediately set up with jobs right there, and that's just through connections of the alumni. But I mean, a lot of our players that end up not playing pro ball, or even after pro ball, like go on to be entrepreneurs, go on to be business owners, doctors, lawyers, big time in business. So I think for us, man, we just have that good blend of big time baseball and a power degree. And I think development from the baseball side of it is big too, because what happens is sometimes if you go to a big school, although it looks grand, although it's great, all the merch and all the the facilities and all that, but sometimes you lose that development aspect because they expect you to be good right away, and if you're not, next guy up. And I think for us, where we take a lot of pride in is we really focus on the development with guys. I mean, the resume of the amount of professional baseball players that have come through here, Corbin Burns, Tony Gonsolin, Patrick Wisdom, and so many more, so many more guys that have played professional baseball. Like that all stems from good development. Like they were not necessarily the blue chip guys out of high school.
Yeah.
They were guys that, hey, like they had good things to offer, they just weren't as developed yet. And so when they came here, Coach V and the rest of the staff did such a great job of, just
development's a priority.
It's a priority, man. So, and developing them throughout the years, and then next thing you know, man, like they're they're the dude. Now they're throwing against a guy who's, you know, top for 5 rounder, you know, at Vanderbilt, and they're just as good as that guy. Yeah. So for us, man, development from the baseball side, development is what we pride on with our coaching staff and our players. Big time schedule, so you're gonna get your licks against the schools that you know that are you know big time. Our conference too. Conference has been known for producing so many good
West Coast Conference.
Yeah, West Coast Conference is no joke, man. We added Grand Canyon and Seattle, Utah conference. That's going to be better, you know, add on to the competition. And then you have the power degree, and then campus itself.
Beautiful.
There's not a lot of distractions, you know. And I think where sometimes kids get lost a little bit is they go to schools and they get lost in the nightlife. They get lost in, you know, the classroom because, you know, they're just another number in the auditorium. For us, like small class size, get really intimate with your professor as far as like they know who you are. You know, they really are invested in helping you advance in your academic journey and helping you be successful. So that's why I love it here. I mean, for any parent and any kid that is that's priority for them. Yeah. Like St. Mary's is the place to be, and we win here. Here. I mean, we lost only 3 series last year, had 32 wins, and that was coming from, you know, Coach V being at Long Beach. Yeah. And, you know, the coach that was here prior, you know, unfortunately, like, when V came in, it was immediately, it switched.
Well, yeah, bro, we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah. Dude, this was awesome, man. I really appreciate it, dude. I'm excited what you're doing, man. You know, Nick's been a good friend of mine for a long time. I'm excited not only what he's doing on the baseball field, but what he's doing with the media aspect of it, man. This is super cool, bro. You have a talent. You have many talents with the barber craft, man. Now with the media, I'm really honored that you asked me to jump on, man. Like, this is awesome.
For any kid that's watching or any recruit, come and play for Danny.
Thank you.
St. Mary's College. Video speaks for itself. But yeah, like, subscribe. You guys have any recommendations for people you'd like to see on the show, or just how we can make it better? DMs are open, baby. Yes, sir. We out.
Sure.
Mama, I made the network.